Yeah. So up next we had Rusev versus RVD. Pretty decent match actually. Definitely a lot better than the typical Rusev squash, but still nothing too exceptional. Rusev does end up winning via the accolade, and then at the end of the match, after everything's over, Lana comes in and tells Rusev to stop, but he doesn't see the sign, so he doesn't stop, and then she does it again, and he finally sees and stops.
That's pretty much going to be the review, because I'll be honest with everybody, I only caught the tail end of this because I had a freak power outage for like a few seconds at my house. It took a while for me to get everything together. Then my headset was malfunctioning, so I had a lot to work out. But I did see Rusev have RVD in the accolade. I think, considering that we always joke about RVD being no job Rob, I'd say this is a pretty nice win for Rusev.
Let's start changing that. He hasn't been no job Rob for a while. Let's say Job Van Dam.
Job Van Dam, that sounds good.
It almost sounds like job well done, but we're not giving him that much credit.
And maybe because this is just me, and of course I would think about things like this, and everybody else probably has forgotten that it's even happened. But seeing Rusev squash Van Dam just tells me how easy of a time he's going to have with Jack Swagger, because let's remember, RVD was the same guy that all he had to do was kick Swagger in the head, get the frog splash, and get the win. It was literally that simple. And if Rusev can steamroll Van Dam, even with Jack Swagger as a babyface and getting these reactions, thank goodness for Zeb Coulter, it's not going to matter, because me remembering that, I'm just going to think that Rusev's going to walk all over, literally and figuratively, Jack Swagger.
Because he steps on people's backs.
Exactly.
All right, so up next we had the hands-down, uncontested match of the night. Randy Orton versus Dean Ambrose. Holy crap, this was even better than their SmackDown match.
I agree, mainly because it had a finish. But before I get too ahead of myself, there was great back and forth in this match. And yes, folks, because it seems to be almost a running gag on TwitWow, Dean Ambrose was selling that shoulder.
Yep.
Oh,
he
man.
smacked it a few times trying to get some feeling back in his arm. Typical Dean Ambrose things.
He's gonna sell that thing for a whole year every time he stops Rollins. Just everything. But no, Dean did excellent here. I thought the crowd was very receptive to him. I've read certain people online, Ashton, already calling Dean Ambrose like one of the top 3 baby faces in the company right now. He's got momentum. It's ridiculous. And, if you're Randy Orton, you've got to be grateful to be a part of this kind of locker room, because a lot of people would probably, blow their minds, because Orton's been a part of the company for so long, to know that he's only as old as Dolph Ziggler is. I think, I don't even think there's any disparity between them. And so he's got a lot left to give, at least from an age perspective, and to know that there's this kind of talent that can still bring out the best in him, and that he's not, really getting repetitive or anything, because this is a very engaging back and forth match. I loved it.
I don't know. I think my favorite spot of this match was when Orton hit the barrier-hung DDT on the outside, and then Ambrose had to answer the 10 count. And to me, what made it special was that normally when somebody has to do that, and it's like a really white bread baby face, they lay on the ground and kind of crawl towards the ring, and then right as the ref hits 9, they jump up and shoot into the ring really quickly. Ambrose didn't do that. Ambrose, when the ref got to like 6 or 7, Ambrose was kind of working his way up. When the ref was at 8, Ambrose was on his feet. And by the time the ref hit 9, he had slid into the ring. This was brilliant because finally we have somebody who actually has to work their way to their feet before they can get into the ring, rather than just bouncing up like a freaking trampoline from laying on the ground back into the ring.
Well, what I was saying about commentary earlier applies perfectly to this situation. It's all about the pacing. I'm going to be more sucked in and identify more with a guy that gets very slowly to his feet after taking a maneuver like that, because you're talking a DDT on a hard, unforgiving floor. And then, is just able to get in the ring barely with his consciousness intact, because he's probably scrambled brains and all. And you know what? That was a great hope spot, because after Ambrose successfully did that, I actually believe there was a chance he could win this whole thing. That's what made it so great for me.
Yeah, and you know what? He ended up going to the well one too many times with that darned rebound lariat.
I'm telling you, dude. See, if Luke Harper wasn't a thing, I would say that rope rebound lariat was my favorite lariat going on in WWE right now. But those two, man, it's a big debate for me because I just love how Ambrose just comes off of it and then bam, full impact, connects with it. And then, that's kind of like his setup move because then he'll smack himself in the head, wake himself up, and then attempt dirty deeds. Ambrose has just got this thing down to a science.
What about Okada, John?
Yeah, we did see his, didn't we?
The Rainmaker.
The Rainmaker. You know what, Ashton? I'll be honest, my memory is kind of fuzzy of seeing his Rainmaker because that was 2 events ago, not this most recent one that we watched of ROH. So,
although apparently ROH, I believe, is coming out with another ROH New Japan dual pay-per-view.
I look forward to it. That'll be a fantastic show. That their first one was really excellent. But staying back on point, I just love that maneuver in Ambrose's arsenal. These guys just had a great back and forth. Again, I wouldn't mind seeing these two feud. I don't care what it would be over. Bragging rights, a championship, something in between. It wouldn't matter. You put these two guys in a ring together, you get magic every time, especially if you give it the amount of time that it deserves. And I feel like this match definitely got that.
Definitely. I mean, this match is going to be absolute money for the next, I would say, decade, but I don't know if Orton's going to decide to stick around that long. I know that if he wanted to, he could, but I don't know if he's going to want to.
Right. I mean, it's like Regal said, and it just rings truer each and every week. Dean Ambrose is everybody's perfect opponent for the next 10 years. And he's coming through on it. He's coming through on it every time he performs. He's coming through on it every time he picks up a microphone. This guy, whether you make him a heel or a babyface, and I have to concede, Ashton here knew that Ambrose could pull a babyface off. I did not. I was like, no, that doesn't jive with me. He has done it so well that, again, I've read so many people say that they group Ambrose in the top 3 babyfaces. This guy is going all the way with it, and if some of the rumors that I have read pan out concerning Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins, the rest of this year is going to kick ass. It really is. I can't wait.
Yeah, the rest of this year is extremely short-sighted for how great the future looks right now.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, are you kidding me? That they are running. In fact, Roman Reigns gave an interview. I don't know if it was today or just sometime this week, or last week rather. And he said, we're pretty much doing the same thing that we did as the Shield, but only now as individuals, and that's running the yard, running the show. These guys are so motivated and so hungry, and it shows in their work output that if these guys are going to be carrying the show on their backs, or they're going to be carrying the WWE on their backs for the next 10 or so years, that's one comfortable ride for this guy.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so up next we had a brief backstage segment. Renee Young interviewing John Cena. He says that the title is a symbol of handling business and that he's handled business since he's been in WWE. And he kind of talks a little bit, and then next thing you know, the camera pans out a little bit and you see Roman Reigns on the opposite side of Renee. And he wishes Cena good luck in his match. Cena says, you had strong words for me earlier, but I don't need luck, Holmes. And then Reigns said, well, I'll be in that fatal 4-way match, and you ain't going to beat me, Holmes. And then he walks off and we go to commercial. I love how every time Cena tries to go gangster, someone calls him out for it now.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, really, I don't have any criticisms with Cena here. I've often said I hate when he does comedy. When he does serious, I think you'll very rarely hear me be critical of him, unless I feel like it's an outright burial. Again, I reference you to Orton, Glassjaw, all that stuff. So this was good from Cena. I like this. I liked how he really put emphasis on the title, that a guy who carries this knows how to handle business. That's why I hold it. Reigns with that swagger and just speaking in just the short tongue, the short sentences, works so well for him. I don't think I'd ever want to hear him in a long, drawn-out promo because I think that would ruin the mystique that he's kind of built for his character. Keep it this way. You've got something good here. I mean, look at what happens when guys like Batista speak too long. Sure, hilarity, but just really, really awkward hilarity. Weapons are not only legal, they're allowed.
All right, so up next we had the Ziggler Del Rio match. Not really anything to say here. Commentary ruined it for me.
I can agree with that. Fandango was hilarious on commentary.
Fandango is consistently hilarious. Just give him all the titles.
You have come out and said in the past, like, he just has a direct line to your funny bone, and I
he just gets me.
He's so good. In fact, really, because we already talked about this match in your heat of the night, so can I go on to like the next segment that happened with Fandango?
Sure.
Yeah, because he goes to the back, he sees Layla, and she's like, well, what was that about? Why were you out there? Was it because you're jealous of the fact that Summer kissed off? And he's like, baby, I did that because, Dolph, he insulted me, and when he insults me, he insults our love. It's not about Summer. I promise you, no one is ever cutting in to our love. And they kind of hug, and he kisses her on the head. And lo and behold, the camera pans over to Summer Rae, who Fandango is looking at. And I'm laughing my ass off because all I'm thinking is he is having such a Johnny Curtis moment. All he wants to do is get weird.
All he wanted at that moment was a rag of chloroform.
It was so good, dude. He's just kind of looking at her and then, consoling Layla, and he's like, I can have it all. I can have it all. I just gotta keep it together.
All he wanted to be in that moment was that little Spanish girl in that stand and stuff taco commercial. ¿Por qué no los dos? Why not both?
Yes. That's where we're ending it. That was perfect. So what was the next segment, man?
Goldust and Stardust, and you can take this one away too.
You know what? Not really much to say here either. I love these two. They're freaks. I'm a freak. It works.
Dude, it's so weird because consistently the funniest part of these segments, in my opinion, is Goldust's random freak out. It's like, oh, there it is again. Like, what? What are you freaking out about? I don't understand what he's freaking out about, but to me, it's hilarious.
And then I think Stardust, emitted, not necessarily a squeal or anything when Goldust did that, but kind of like his own little exclamation, and I'm like, what is wrong with you two?
He hissed.
That was another thing. Thank you for reminding me, because, when they had their little brotherly stare down, because Goldust did the whole chomp, and Stardust was just like, I'm just like, what is going on?
Yeah.
I was so confused, but I loved it. It's so weird. Oh, man. You'll never forget the name. E.T.? No. But why? These guys are so weird. I hope they win the tag titles. Honestly, if it's not going to be the Ascension, I'd love it to be these guys. Because honestly...
Okay, so here is my tier list. 1, Wyatt's. 2, Ascension. 3, GoldStar.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
4, Los Matadores. 4, Rybaxel. 5, Los Matadores. 6, Usos retain.
That's perfect. Yeah, I was about to cut in and be like, don't you mean Rybaxel? Because Rybaxel's amazing. And I pretty much agree with your top 3.
Were you about to cut in?
I think so. But, I love these guys. Honestly, the only reason I say I want them to win the tag titles is because I'm just not convinced that the Wyatt family are going to do it. But then again, we still have a little bit of time before Battleground. The Ascension, while I'm putting most of my stock in that, I'd say 95% of my stock, the other 5% is recognizing, John, that is as grand a fantasy as you've ever conjured up. And so, GoldStar's looking mighty promising right now.